Michelle Carter, who as a 17-year-old convinced her boyfriend to end his life over a series of text messages, has been sentenced to 2.5 years in prison. Welcome back to What's Trending, I'm Ava Gordy. Michelle Carter was easily convicted of manslaughter thanks to a trail of text messages. Carter's texts to her boyfriend Conrad outline a campaign of manipulation and cruelty. Conrad had a history of suicidal depression, which Carter preyed on with texts like, "So what are you gonna do then? Keep being all talk and no action and every day go through saying how badly you want to kill yourself? So are you sure you don't want to kill yourself tonight? I thought you wanted to do this. The time is right and you're ready. You just need to do it. You can't keep living this way." Before going any further into this story, if you or anyone you know is dealing with suicidal thoughts, please call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline or text the Crisis text line and talk to someone who can help. Carter was knowingly manipulating someone who was feeling suicidal. He was crying out for help, and instead she wanted to play the grieving girlfriend, so she encouraged him to do it. The heartbreak that Conrad's family must be feeling is unimaginable. Carter was facing up to 20 years in prison. In a shocking turn of events, the judge sentenced her to 15 months in prison and a year supervised probation. Carter also remains free while her defense appeals her case. Carter's defense argued for a sentence that was not punitive but rehabilitative. Defense attorney Joe Cataldo asked for 5 years of supervised probation with required mental health counseling. He said his client had been diagnosed with several eating disorders, had been taking antidepressants, and was not a danger to the public. While Conrad Roy suffered from a mental illness that Michelle Carter exploited, she also had a mental illness that drove her to exploit a suicidal young man. So here's where it gets a little bit tricky. A jail sentence sends the message that what she did was extremely wrong and she deserves to spend time in prison. However, when do we decide that a mental illness is not worth treating? So how do we determine who needs mental health and who needs to be put behind bars? Prosecutor Katie Rayburn said after, there were no winners in the case, which concluded with two families torn apart, emotionally drained, and affected for years.
Conrad, an 18-year-old boy, is dead, and a young woman is now convicted of causing his death.
And this story obviously has social media outrage. Steph tweets, "Maybe if she's given the maximum sentence, people will take suicide matters more seriously and stop treating it as a joke." At NuffSaidNY tweeted, "The judge gave Michelle Carter 2.5 years for the involuntary manslaughter of her boyfriend. Sounds about white." And Brooke Rogers writes, "It breaks my heart that Michelle Carter's boyfriend reached out to someone he might have thought loved him and got 'kill yourself' in response." So what's your reaction to the Michelle Carter controversy? Let us know in the comments below and subscribe for more stories.